Welcome into my video covering all of the recent changes made to the Nightclub as a part of the Criminal Enterprises DLC in GTA Online. Originally released in 2018, the Nightclub promised to be one of the biggest updates the game had seen so far, and honestly it was one of my favourite concepts for a DLC that Rockstar ever presented. Having been a big fan of both GTA 4 and The Ballad of Gay Tony, myself and many other fans eagerly awaited its arrival, but shortly after the shine of the initial release wore off, it just kind of felt like it wasn't hitting its full potential. The passive earnings from the warehouse were a game changer, don't get me wrong, but it felt light in terms of content and replayability. But fortunately that's finally been addressed, and we have some new additions to the Nightclub, in the form of new missions, interactions, and a few little moneymakers along the way as well. The first new feature, and one of my personal favourites, can be observed when calling Tony Prince, where at the top you'll see a Request Club Management option, which we'll be looking at in just a second. But when hovered over that while in an organisation, it displays your current popularity level for your nightclub, which is actually very useful. Prior to this, you actually had to go inside the property itself to check it, and it was quite annoying to say the least. On top of that though, you can also request a limo to be delivered to your current location. There's the V12 Shafter and the Patriot Stretch, both of which can be spawned in immediately and used for as long as you want. This here is the Shafter. It's not the greatest car by any means, but it's quick enough and it can even take an explosion or two before it properly gives out. And I think the Patriot Stretch needs no introduction because, well, it speaks for itself really, doesn't it? This absolute behemoth doesn't really have much practical use, but hey, if you ever plan on going on a drunken celebrity style rampage, then look no further. Now we'll check out the Request Club Management feature that I mentioned before. When you're in an organisation, simply call up Tony wherever you are on the map and hit this. Shortly after that, he'll give you a call back and it'll launch a promotion mission. You still have the option of doing it the old-fashioned way from the computer in your nightclub office, but being able to do it on the move is a hell of a lot easier. Unfortunately, that leads us directly on to the next part of the video, which is all of the new missions that have been added in the recent update. There are 2 new popularity missions added in total, and this is one of them. They're both honestly quite a bit more involved than the original ones though, that often just required you to drop some flyers or retrieve a truck. But with the nightclub safe now paying out 50k per in-game day for maxed out popularity, I guess Rockstar felt they had to add some more grind to balance out all that cash. This one isn't too bad though, it does vary up the gameplay a bit. It requires you to upload a virus onto a paparazzi's computer, but in order to get it you need to avoid the security camera in the corner. If you're detected, the cops will be alerted and make your experience that bit more difficult, but luckily it's not really that hard to stay out of the cone of vision as long as you're patient. Just wait for the security camera to move to the other side of the room before carefully making your way around and over to the computer. After you're done, you just need to retrace your steps and pick a good moment to move before ducking out the door and heading over to the next objective. This next part's pretty easy, all you have to do is take a few people out and retrieve a camera. From what I can tell, it can't be damaged, because I launched a rocket right at it and it seemed untouched. So just clear out the area and make your way over to the camera's location once it's highlighted on your map. After that, it's smooth sailing and you just need to lose the cops and return the camera to the nightclub when you're done. The next promotion mission starts with Tony asking you to go around to various points on the map and eliminate 3 rival drug dealers before eventually discovering their hideout. There's a bunch of different randomised locations, so you won't necessarily get the same ones as me, but initially they shouldn't give you any trouble. There will only be 2 or 3 enemies at each marker. Some might have vehicles and try to escape when they see you, so just be prepared for that and take them out at the earliest convenience. Once that's done and dusted, you'll be required to go and find their lockup, which is again at a randomised location. However, this time you need to explore inside the yellow circle until you see some red enemy dots pop up on your minimap. When you see those, you'll know you're in the right place and you can start your approach. At this point their numbers will get bigger and you'll want to be a little bit careful, but overall they don't put up too much of a fight. When you feel it's safe to approach, you can make your way over to where the dealers were congregating and go inside the lockup. Once you're in here, get ready for some close range combat. There isn't too many enemies, but they're all going to be pressed up right in your face, so go in blazing with a shotgun or something similar to clear them out. Just keep an eye out for anyone hiding around the corners, they can light you up pretty quick if you're not careful. Once all of the enemies are taken care of, you just need to plant the explosives and make your way out of the building. When you're outside, you'll be given a detonate contact on your phone, which you should promptly call up and get this thing finally finished. There's nothing to deliver back to the nightclub on this one, so as soon as you've lost the cops, you'll pass the mission and be good to go. Despite both of the new missions being longer, they both offer roughly the same amount of promotion gain as the old missions did. Fortunately though, the next couple of features balance that out quite nicely in my opinion. They both revolve around you getting to play the role of bouncer, where you get to remove undesirables from your club. When one of these becomes available, you'll get a message from Marcel, who will give you a briefing on all the details, but ultimately you just need to go to the blue marker on your minimap. There are two types of encounters you can find. One involves regular patrons such as this, who will be given the standard treatment that I think a lot of us have probably experienced on our more colourful nights out. They'll just get kicked to the curb and that's that. It really couldn't be simpler. And honestly, the payoff is insane. It actually gives you as much popularity as doing one of the missions we just looked at. So definitely keep an eye out for those. In my experience, they seem to be more common when you're at low to medium popularity and can often be a nice little boost to get you back where you need to be. When I had higher popularity, I seemed to get more of these encounters, which more or less revolves around the same premise. Marcel will send you a text and an icon will pop up on your map just like before, although this time it will be a VIP, and oh boy do they end up in some spots. This cheeky bastard actually had the nerve to go and have a kip in my office, and then he expects me to drive him home. This game sometimes, man, like why is that my responsibility? I just want to chuck people out of my nightclub, you know? In all honesty, I don't mind the idea. It's more just the associated mission. It's where you have to drive them home, but you can't drive too fast or crash into anything because they freak out and you fail once the bar gets full. The first time I tried this, it wasn't too bad. I only had to drive to the other side of the city. This time though, I had to go all the way out to bloody sandy shores, which isn't too bad under normal circumstances, but having to drive at 20 miles an hour the whole way kind of puts a different spin on things. I mean, the mission is easy at least, but it's very tedious. You do get the same sort of popularity benefits as you do for the other interaction though, so it's not too bad. And honestly, you don't want to sleep on these promotion missions. They might be annoying sometimes, but they rarely take more than a few minutes, and if you keep your popularity maxed, you'll receive 50k per in-game day via the safe in your office. They buffed the payouts a few months ago, and it's really good for new players and anyone looking to build some passive income. Definitely worth looking into if you haven't already. The next bunch of features revolve around the new NPC Yohan, who will contact you shortly after loading into the game or coming into your nightclub. He's going to be your access to actively sourcing goods for your warehouse. To get things started, you'll want to give Yohan a call, where you'll be presented with this menu, and it will tell you your current stock level and how much it's worth. But on top of that, there's now also the option to request nightclub goods, which shortly after selecting it, will present a mission for you to complete that rewards you with stock for your nightclub. Before this, the only way to get stock was either through business battles or by collecting it naturally from it being connected to your other businesses, both of which were largely out of your control. Now that's all changed, and you can do so by completing these relatively simple missions. One of them involves you chasing down a truck that gets marked on your map. You can either shoot the drivers or damage the vehicle, which will force them to stop and jump out. It's not super difficult, and the enemy shouldn't pose you too much problem. There will however be about 3 waves of them on your journey back to the nightclub. You can either stop and take them out on foot or just shoot them from the truck. Either way, just do your thing, and when you're ready, take the goods to the warehouse. So in this situation, it paid off really well. We got 54k in goods for the nightclub and 37k personal money, which is great for a quick mission like this. Although I'm not yet convinced it's a solid money making method. The stock values seem to vary a lot. In some cases it's been worth as low as 10k, which wasn't worth the time investment in my opinion. The next source mission from Yohan is a little bit more annoying and requires you to go to the docks where you have to confront a whole bunch of enemies before stealing the goods off the back of a tugboat and hauling ass out of there. The one good thing is most of them aren't protected by any cover, so if you want to make things a bit easier for yourself, I advise coming in with a heli or an oppressor first and clearing out as many of them as you can. They'll scatter all over, but will mostly stay out in the open and be easy pickings as long as you can position yourself correctly. Once you've thinned their numbers a little, you can make your way down and head towards the icon on your minimap. If you've gone the reckless and explosive method that I suggested, you will likely have sunk the tugboat, but don't worry, the goods shouldn't have suffered any and can be collected by jumping in the water. Then you just need to return to land via the ladder on the side and get back to your vehicle before making your escape and going back to the nightclub to deliver the package. And as you can see here, the payouts do indeed vary quite a lot. Last time we got 54k worth of goods, and this time it's only added 30k to the total. If you fancy checking them out though, definitely do so. The missions aren't too bad and you do have a chance of earning some decent cash. Just be aware that there's a 20-minute cooldown on them, so you can't just grind them back to back. And that's about it for all new features in the Nightclub. If you found the video useful, please do it a kindness and tap the thumbs up button down below. And if you are new around here, then do think about subscribing as well. I'm a Rockstar Games exclusive channel, and I've got tons of exciting GTA content on the way. Until we meet again, you bunch of legends, I am Red Nitrate, and I'll catch you on the next one.